All right, Parshat Naso. Before we begin, as our executive producer says, we would like to remind you that if you have any questions or suggestions or kind remarks to make us, you can do so at rabbigaon@gmail.com. You can also look at our Yeshiva website, yeshivaetzion.com. There is a donation PayPal there if you want to send donations, which will be greatly appreciated. However, the biggest donation is if you come to learn with us. That will be the greatest help that you can help us with. And there's also a YouTube channel and some other stuff, but Anyway, Parshat Naso, excuse me because I'm not feeling so well. Parshat Naso, usually people talk about the Sotah. Maybe I'll talk a little bit about it at the end, but I want to focus on something else that really stood up for me this year, which for whatever reason, lately I've been seeing a lot of things I've been missing. It says, "V'yiha makriv bayom harishon et korbano Nachshon ben Aminadav leMatei Yehuda." And the one who sacrificed the korbanot on the first day was Nachshon ben Aminadav leMatei Yehuda. Bayom hasheni, the second day, Hikriv Netanel ben Tzoar Nasi Issachar. Bayom hashlishi Nasi Livnei Zvulun Eliav ben Chelon. Bayom havri'i Nasi Livnei Reuven Elisur ben Shedaur, and so on and so forth. And the korbanot of the Nesiim are the presidents, but really we don't call it president. Those who are the heads, the chieftains of the tribes, repeat almost like an exact echo 12 times in a row. However, just because of that, we have to pay, and we have to look for we have to pay attention to small changes that there are between those chieftains, between those Nesiim. If we're going to look at one, the regular structure of the Aseret HaShvatim, from Zvulun and on, from Shevet Zvulun and on, is Bayom and so on and so forth, Nasi Livnei, and then the name of the Nasi. But the first two tribes, this is not the case. By Nachshon ben Aminadav, there's no title of Nasi altogether. There's no title. And by Netanel ben Tzoar, it says Nasi Sachar, but not like the rest of the Shvatim. And the question is, of course, Perekeh, why? Why is it like that? I mean, I would think on the contrary. First one, you have to tell everybody, Yamod, Nasi, Shevet Yehuda is really the superior of all Shvatim, if you could say that, Dafka by him is not. So, of course, I wasn't the first one to realize that. There was somebody much better than me that realized it before him. So happened it was the Elshech. The Elshech, which is amazing. I mean, if you think about people like the Elshech and so on and so forth. For me, it was such a thrill when I was in Tzfat to go into the shul that the Elshech was giving drashot on Shabbat. It was like, it's mamash crazy. I mean, it's unbelievable. That's why there's this certain energy there. Of course, until certain segments came and we won't mention the names. But anyway, the Elshech also, what's amazing about it, that it's not so popular anymore for whatever reason. And, Dafka and those things you should look into. Today we have our own popular mefarshim. But look at the Elshech. If you want to do a mefaresh for the year, like what I used to do. I used to take every year, instead of, and I'm not saying you should do that, and I'm not saying that's the right thing to do, I'm just telling you what I used to do. Instead of doing Shnai Mikra, Echad Targum, I used to do Shnai Mikra and one mefaresh. So every year I used to take a different mefaresh. Until I got to the Abarvanel, and then I never finished a parsha, I'll tell you that. It will take me like 2 weeks to finish what he's saying there. I mean, you really got to look deep into it. Anyway, so he said it. And he says there's a tremendous lesson that we could learn for the leaders of Am Yisrael. However, before we're going to go to that, I would like to bring something up to you. It really has maybe something that has nothing to do with it, but it does. It's from Halachot Tfilah, and that's what the Rambam is pasking in Halachot Tfilah, Perek Hey Halacha Yud, based on what is found in the Mishnah and in the Gemara in Masechet Brachot in Daf Lamed Daled Amud Bet, and I'm quoting Hamitpalel Korea Chamesh Kriyot Bechol Tfilah v'Tfilah. A person who davens needs to bow down 5 times in every tefillah. Bevracha Rishona, בתחילה ובסוף, בהודיה, בתחילה ובסוף, מודים, הודיה, בתחילה ובסוף, וכשגומר התפילה, when you finish davening, קורע, like that, ופוסע 3 פסיעות לאחריו, and you walking 3 steps back. What are we talking about? בהדיוט, not idiot. הדיוט, with a simple man, just a regular person. אבל כהן גדול, high priest, קורע בתחילה כל ברכה. He bows down at the beginning in every bracha. And he bows down at the end of every bracha. והמלך, כיוון ששחה בראשונה, אינו מגביה ראשו עד שגומר כל תפילתו. And if you're going to be a king, well, Lavian cannot be a king because he's a Lavian. But, sorry, he can't be Mashiach. But you can still be a Rebbe, you know that. But Hamelech, a king of Am Yisrael, once he starts Baruch, until the end, he's down. His head is down the whole entire tefillah. Kohen Gadol, the beginning and the end of every bracha. A regular person, 5 times. A king bows down and does not pick his head until the end. You never knew this halacha, Yoni. Well, now you do. See? It's good to come to Yeshiva. The difference between a regular person, a simple man, and a Kohen Gadol and a Melech, in regarding the bowing of the Tefillot Shmonah Esrei, right? As we said, regular person is 5, and so on and so forth. And so therefore, of course, the question is what's the difference between those 3? Rashi writes on the Gemara over there, and I'm quoting, "Kol mashu gadol beyoter tzarich leachnia veleashpil atzmo." The greater you are, the more you have to keep yourself down. This is ridiculous. That's not what we see today. A person that was rewarded by Hashem, and the reward is given to him by Hashem, to a high stature in society, has an extreme danger, an immediate and imminent danger to him, and that is the danger of ga'ava. It's there all the time. Ga'ava means arrogance. Rav Chaim Palachi writes that when the parnas mitmaneh al hatzibur, when a person, they make him a public figure, he has to say a special tefillah. And a rabbi that becomes a rabbi has a special tefillah of vidui and rachamim that he put on together when you become in such a position. It's mind-boggling. To us, it's not. As Aleinu l'shabeach, we are the best. And why is that? Because a person might become arrogant because he's going to go into a power trip. Ani v'koch yadi, ani v'atzmi. Me, myself, I'm the best. Who's the best? I'm the best. If I wasn't the best, why am I here? Hashem picked me up for this, right? Why did he pick me up for that? Because I'm the best. Otherwise, he didn't, And it's very, very dangerous. It's a very dangerous thing. And as a Jewish leader, not only as a Jewish person, as a Jewish leader even more so, there is no room for that. Again, it does not mean that you should have a low self-esteem. That does not mean having a low self-esteem. It's knowing your abilities, knowing what you're capable of, and understanding that Hashem gave it to you. That you by yourself are really another thing. I mean, listen, I don't look like a weak guy, am I? I have a little bacteria that is killing me since Shavuot. I'm dying. I cannot move. I feel like a overcooked spaghetti. You know, what do you need for a person to feel like a noodle? Just a little bug? I'm taking antibiotics already 3 days and I'm still like overcooked noodle. You just remind yourself, what are you? דע מאין באת, ודע לאן אתה הולך, ולפני מי אתה עתיד לדין בחשבון. It's an unbelievable thing to live life to. That excess of bowing down in tefillot causes a person, of course we're talking about normal people, causes a person to surrender his heart to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to surrender his heart to the King of Kings, to the King of the universe. Understand that there's God, and listen, you're not that great. That would allow you to be mevatel the ga'ava in your heart. And the more that a person is elevated in his public stature, right, the more he needs to bow down in tefillah. As it says, as Maharam Melshech says, למען כל היותר עליון יורה יותר הכנעה לפני קונו. Since you are elevated into a high position, you must show humbleness towards Hashem. According to that principle, the Maharam Alshech explains that in regards to Nachshon ben Aminadav, of course, we know who's Nachshon, right? That's the guy who jumped into the Yam Suf. You know, when we were kids in Israel, you know, doing like a head jump, we used to call it Kfitzat Nachshon. You know, and later on, you know, people, you know, Israel became less connected to its roots, and then they call it Kfitzat Rosh, a head jump. But really, it's Kfitzat Nachshon. That's what we used to call it. So it's not mentioned the title Nasi, president, at all. And when it comes to Netanel ben Tzuar, is not so out in the open, and that's what it says. The Maharam Alshech says Yehuda shu keter HaMalchut is the crown of Malchut. A Kav Yashar. By the way, in order to be a Melech, you need to understand, Fi Kabbalah, we have Malchut at the bottom, and then we have Keter on the top. The Keter of the Malchut can only come through Kav Yashar. When you're not a straightforward person, when you're not a person who likes to find the middle of the way between two extremes, you cannot be a Melech. And by the way, that has to do with the Melech on yourself as well. You cannot be the king of yourself if you were zigzagging in yourself. You have to be Yashar. Bechol ma'asecha, in all your actions, you have to be straight. Literally straight. So, don't laugh, Rebs. So, יהודה שהוא כתר המלכות, לא ייזכר בו אפילו תואר נשיא. ויששכר שהוא מעלת חוכמה, שהוא מעלה, right? What was יששכר? The learning בני תורה, יששכר חמור גרם, right? אך לא כמלך בעולם הזה, but he's not as much as a king, יורה גם הוא הכנעה, also have to be humble. That's why a Ben Torah needs to be humble. You can't be arrogant, be a Ben Torah. You can't be arrogant. אך לא כל כך כמלך, but not as much as a king. לכן, ביששכר הזכיר בו נשיא. He mentioned נשיא, אבל כלאחר יד, by the way kind of a thing. ואמר נשיא יששכר. ויתר השבטים, the rest of the tribes, didn't need that. כי אין בה מה שהתגאו כראשונים, there's nothing for them to be so proud of as the top ones. So the first two נשיאים, נחשון and נתנאל, also, of course, are attributed to the tribes that had a special ma'ala. Shevet Yehuda, which was the Keter Malchut, and Shevet Yisachar, which is less than Malchut in terms of importance of people, but not really what we know in life. Because what we know in life, we have what? Keter? There's three Ketarim.
Keter Torah, Keter Keuna.
Keter Torah on top. Torah is on top. Keter Keuna and Keter Malchut. In the real world is reversed, but here people with machshav. I mean, how many people? If you have to take a picture, right? I'm sorry for this comparison, but even a person like Obama, right? El Presidente del United States Shikabab, right? El President of the United States, former President of the United States, and you're going to have a former chief rabbi to Israel. Most people will run to the former president. Yeah. However, it says, and again, this is ba'olam hazeh. Ba'olam hazeh, this is like this. Olam haba is reversed. Ket Torah me'al kulam, above all. Therefore, in order to prevent arrogance, we dropped the title Nasi, president from Nachshon, and that's why we have it in the other one. So by the way, kind of a thing, because we don't want it. So for the same reason that the king bows down in his tefillah more than other people, for the same reason the title Nasi was dropped from Nachshon ben Aminadav. Being elevated, you have to remember. And you have to remember this. Hopefully one day all of you are going to be even more important than you are now. The problem is like this, and I'm going to tell you this, and I'll use you guys an example. Who wants to be an example? Okay, I'll use all of you. The problem is like this. There is a conflict between, that is brewing inside of me. In one hand, you would all like to be acknowledged and to be important, you feel important, but yet you don't realize how important you are in what really counts. You don't realize how important you are. Because realizing how not important you are allows you to slip sliding away. Nobody will pay attention if I don't get up in the morning. Nobody will pay attention if I don't come to Minyan. And nobody pays attention if I come to Yeshiva, I don't come to Yeshiva. I'm not that important. That's your mistake. That's your mistake. Without each and every one of you, the job cannot be done. You are just as important as the next guy around you and the guy on the other side of you, or the guy who's walking ahead of you. We are all important. Who's more important here? Me or you? Well, it's a very stupid question. Because if you would say, I'm more important than you, since I'm the rabbi, you are the students, but what good it is me and a rabbi if I have no students? When if I said the students, well, what good is it the students if there's no rabbis? We have different jobs, but we are all important. Equally important. And so you need to give yourself the credit in which you deserve and stay away from the credit, the importance that is not important. That arrogance importance. As they said, the graveyards are full of people who thought they could not be replaced. Listen, when I left my whatever I was doing, it took over 5 years of 5 different groups of people to try to replace what I did. But eventually they replaced me. And the show must go on. It doesn't make a difference how of a maverick you were. They can always make Top Gun 2.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean. You understand what I'm saying? So don't give yourself this credit of self-importance that is based on arrogance. Give yourself self-importance that is based on substance, of understanding the importance of your job. So that's why a person needs to understand that every time you're being elevated, and the reason where you're elevated is a zchut to you, is a gift that you were given But that zchut, that merit, also has an obligation. And you were not elevated to that position of importance for your own sake. It was for something greater than that, for you to teach, for you to guide. Let's say you were a Nobel Prize winner in what's important in this world.
Physics.
Physics is important. I was about to say astrophysics. How about that? Physics. The chemist will tell you, one of those, like, besides Nobel Peace Prize, that's the, flush it down the toilet, excuse my French.
Yasser Arafat.
Yasser Arafat, yes. Goyse Mitzia. At that point I lost. Anyway, now you're so important. For what? Now, realize how important you are. Go serve the people. If you become presidents or prime ministers or whatever you'll become, it's not for you. It's a zchut for you. It's your merit to obligate in the obligation that you have towards the people. And it might sound crazy, but because you are obligated to serve the people, that is your zchut, that's your merit. And now you need to live up for that. So if they chose you to be the rabbi of a congregation, you need to understand what it means. This is not about job security, it's about job performance. About what you need to do to the people. And how you're going to make this better for them. It's not about you writing a paycheck or looking into retirement at the horizon the year, 30-20. Chaining yourself to the seat like I don't know what, like you landed on crazy glue. You need to be moving and understanding what this is all about. If not, you're arrogant. You're a fool. And you're going to give the din v'cheshbon on that, and I'll show you why. You're going to have to give the din v'cheshbon that you were elevated, you've been promoted, the whole world came into change for you, and you did zilch. So Habibi, get down on your knees and pray. Start praying, bowing down with humbleness. So of course the question is being asked about what this Parashat Sotah does with these whole issues of Kedusha and Niseim. All of a sudden we throw Parashat Sotah in the middle. We have the Mishkan, the Leviim, and maybe we can understand this now a little bit better. In Yom Kippurim, the peak of the Kedusha, the time of Tfilat HaMincha, before Ne'ilah, we read a part of Parashat Acheremot, or if you're Ashkenazi, Acheremos, which is a severe warning on issue of arayot, of forbidden sexual interactions. And where we are almost like angels, we don't eat, we fasted, we wearing all white, and so on and so forth, elevation, singing and prayer, and hopefully. For crying out loud, now you're going to talk to me about crazy sexual interactions? What in the world is wrong with you? Give me something interesting, Kabbalat Har Sin, Matan Torah, Moshe going to the mountain. So the purpose is to remind us, especially in that moment, the behemic side in a human being. And also the issue of arrogance that we need to guard ourselves and we have to watch out from very, very carefully, especially when we want to get closer to the Kedusha in our lives. And especially when you want to get closer to Kedusha. You think you are so important, so you can learn this, or you can learn that, or do this, or do that. It's very possible that even in our parasha here, when we're talking about the Metzorah, right, the leopard, or the Zav, the Tameh, the impurity, and so on and so forth, the Isha Sotah, the Nazir, are really awakening us to this side in man that exists in all of us. That there's a danger, always a danger, that the side, the tzad behemi, the behemic side, the human, will arise. And you should know that ga'ava, arrogance, belongs to that behemoth side of us. It belongs to that. But if I want to become a holy sanctuary for Hashem, to really do Avodat HaKodesh, I need to remove those things from myself. So I need to do a beirur. I need to make a selection. So if somebody gives you tochecha, you listen. Don't become arrogant. Me? Who are you to tell me? Hear what they have to say. Fix it. And we need to understand that this parasha deals with very, very specific things. It talks all about selections, to separate tum'ah from kedusha, what really is the main goal of our lives here, le'afri, to separate the kedusha and the tum'ah. As the Ari writes it in many places, and especially in Parashat Ekev. And it says in the parasha also, וידבר השם אל משה לאמור, דבר לבני ישראל, איש או אישה כי יעשו מכל חטאות האדם. Man or woman who will do from all the sins that man does, חטאות האדם, למעול מעל בהשם, to betray Hashem, והאשמה הנפש ההיא. And that soul is going to be held accountable for that. ויתוודו את חטאתם. And they should repent. And not only repent, they should, how you say vidui? Admit, confess for the sin which they have done. The Torah talks here about the issue of tshuva, and that comes with vidui. Chatati, aviti, pashati, confessing. In the Zohar of this parasha, there is a very long segment that it really is called Ma'amar Tshuva. And I really recommend you to look into that, which a part of the tshuva, of course, is the vidui. As we say in Sefer Mishlei. Sam, how do you say Mishlei in English? A what?
Sorry, Proverbs.
Mishlei.
You said it. Proverbs, right?
Proverbs.
Yeah.
How you say in Spanish?
Proverbs.
Proverbs, I don't know. Oh my goodness, don't make me laugh. I'm in pain. It says in Mishlei, ומודה ועוזב ירוחם. מודה, admit, ועוזב, and you leave the avera, then you're going to have rachamim. Hashem is going to have mercy on you. Modeh b'lashon vidui also. So there is a great inyan in of selection of beirur in vidui, and I'll tell you that when a person does vidui, he does the brera to himself. He does the selection by himself. He says, "Ani, I, chatati." Chatati means I sin, chatati, and so on and so forth. And it says in Jeremiah B, verse 35, Yirmiyahu, for those of you who don't speak French, it says, I'm going to judge you on the fact that you said, I did not sin. You're going to be judged for that. And the Ikara Mishpat, the main focal point of the judgment is on the fact that you said, I didn't sin. So Chazal tells us, Rabbeinu says, that there is din lemala v'din lemata. There's a din up there and there's a din down here. If a person does the beirur down here, the selection down here, and he says chatati, and he admits in the chet, and he leaves the chet, and he does the vidui, and he asks for mercy, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is mochel him. Because it says, umodeh ve'ozev yerucham. But before that selection takes place, you cannot really deal with it. You need to admit it. You have to realize that you have a problem. It's like a disease that eats you from inside, and you don't know what's causing you, and meanwhile it's eating you. You need to find out the cause of the problem. And the vidui is the revelation of the disease inside of you, and as you do the beirur. And a lot of it comes from arrogance. A lot of it will come from arrogance. To admit that you were wrong. There's nothing wrong with admitting you were wrong. And it's funny that we always, somebody said to me today, this person, he's wasting his life. He deserves so much better. He deserves to do so much better. And I said to him, well, this person is old already. He could, whoa, what happened to your hand? Oy. What's your name? A full name?
Moshe Levia.
Moshe ben?
Raphael.
Your mother?
Gloria.
Moshe ben בלוריה או ברוריה?
Gloria.
בלוריה. אל נערפה לנו, רפואה שלמה וכן יהי רצון ונאמר אמן.
Amen.
בזכות התורה שבאת היום.
Amen.
So, that is something that, you have to really penetrate inside of you. This whole essence of understanding and admitting that you have a problem and leaving it to the side. And it's not a problem saying that. So when I said to this person, but listen, the guy is older, he said, no, he's still wasting precious time. So I said to this person, it's funny how we can always look at everybody else and say how they're wasting their time. What is that they're doing wrong? And yet for the same thing that if we would do it, we will find a very good excuse. Why is it okay for us to do it? And I think this is the biggest waste of time. If you see somebody doing something wrong, before you just tell him, make sure you don't do it and fix yourself. Because once you told him, sometimes the person is just a punching bag for you. When you know you're doing something wrong, you find it in him. So then you told him, say, listen, you're doing this wrong. And now you feel good. I fixed it. You didn't fix anything. You should realize that you are doing it. Because he didn't see he's doing anything wrong. I saw it, he's doing something wrong. That means that wrong thing exists within me. He was just the kli, the vehicle that make me realize what's wrong with me. So I need to fix myself first of all. After I fix myself, I'll come to him. Then he would not tell me, before you tell me take this toothpick between your eyes, you take the beam between your eyes, right? As the Gemara says, make sure you do okay. So, again, we should take, we just received the Torah and we're in the tremendous peak and we think that we're so special, and we are. We are special. And that's the love that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave us, the Torah, is because we are special. So when you think about this, what happened when you abandon Torah for any reason out there? When you abandon Torah, what are you saying to HaKadosh Baruch Hu? When you abandon Torah at that moment, that everything else is more important than that, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu really made a mistake giving you Torah. HaKadosh Baruch Hu thinks you are special. You tell HaKadosh Baruch Hu, listen buddy, you're wrong. The reason why we receive Torah is because we're special. And now it is our obligation to make ourselves humble enough to teach, to learn and to teach, and to spread the words of Torah, to spread the goodness into this world. So we need to find a corner and to really do a very good check, an internal, a pre-Elul cleanup. A pre-Elul cleanup. We need to do it. Because listen, we know that the same day that Tisha B'Av falls is the day that Pesach falls. And from Pesach and Shavuot, we had 50 days to clean ourselves, to make ourselves worthy of the Torah. We still have time until Tisha B'Av to turn everything around if we only believe that we can, if we only would like to. We could change everything. We could make it the last year that we cry for Bet HaMikdash last year. This year could be the year in which we're going to be happy. But we need to do it. And we need to realize, and how do we do it? We remove the bad segments from internally, first of all, of us. Let's take a count, let's take an inventory of separating the garbage from the food, the good from the bad inside of us. And This would allow us to come closer and cleaner to Elul, and we'll be ready for that. And it won't be so difficult to admit that we were wrong. So we can stand in front of HaKadosh Baruch Hu in Rosh Hashanah. We need to remember the very important rule of Kabbalah, which is En Or Bli Kli. There's no light without a vessel. If you want to bring light to this world, you have to clean yourself to make yourself into an appropriate vessel. If our vessel, our Kli, if our vessel is blemished, we cannot receive the light into it. A blemished vessel is a magnet to the Sitra Achara, to the Yetzer Hara, to the impurities. So if you see that you all of a sudden being, I don't know why all this wave of immoral things come to me, I'll tell you why. Fix your vessel. Fix your vessel. Fix your kli. There's something blemished inside of you. Sit down, take your time, clean yourself up. Clean yourself up. And you need to do so all the time. If a person prepares himself as a kli shalem, or at least makes an effort to make himself appropriate for a kli shalem, only then the light of the Torah, of Matan Torah, that would reflect until throughout the whole entire year like a beacon, will be able to shine. And then from this point on, you receive the Torah on Shavuot, from this point on until next Shavuot, you should be shining with light, would not get lost. If you are lost, it means that the light is not shining. And as you can see, that probably was the Ma'ala of Moshe Rabbeinu. Moshe Rabbeinu was very humble. He was a prince. He was strong. He was a good-looking guy. He had all the power, but yet he was the most humble of all people. That's why he's Moshe Rabbeinu. And if you tell me that you can't do it, I'll tell you, you're wrong. If you don't believe me, look at the Rambam. Everybody can. The question, does everybody want? Shabbat Shalom.